Nobody can control you if you're emotionally dangerous. Machiavelli. They can only control you when they can predict you. And they can only predict you when they can read your emotions. The moment you become emotionally dangerous, calm under insult, silent under pressure, and strategic under provocation, you step outside the reach of manipulation. You stop being a piece on someone else's chessboard. You become the player. Most people think being emotional means being human, but Machiavelli would tell you, being predictable means being weak. The world feeds on your reactions, your anger, your fear, your need to explain yourself. Every outburst is a confession. Every time you let them see your pain, you hand them a map to your soul, and the wise never reveal the map. So the real power, Machiavelli said, is not in domination, it's in composure. He warned that kings lose their thrones not when they are hated, but when they lose control of their image. When emotions dictate your face, your tone, your timing, you are no longer the master of your reality. You are a puppet in a theater you didn't build. But what if you could master the art of emotional danger? The ability to make others uncertain of what you feel, unsure of how to reach you, unable to use your reactions against you. That's when you become truly free. Not untouchable because you have no feelings, but because your feelings no longer rule you. This video will reveal how to reach that state. The Machiavellian mind of emotional sovereignty. You'll understand why your emotions are the most powerful weapon and the most subtle form of slavery, depending on who holds them. You'll see how ancient philosophers, from Stoic generals to Buddhist monks, discovered the same law centuries apart. That self-control is not coldness, it is clarity. You'll learn why emotional detachment doesn't kill your humanity, but resurrects it. Why those who command respect never shout, and why the most dangerous people in history were not the loudest, but the calmest. Before we go deeper, I want you to write this phrase in the comments. My emotions serve me, they don't control me. It's a small act, but it marks the beginning of your transformation. Each word is a declaration of inner authority. If you're ready to go beyond the illusions of weakness and uncover what Machiavelli really meant by emotional power, stay until the end. Because in the final moments of this video, I'll reveal a truth so quiet that most people never hear it. The reason why emotional mastery makes you untouchable, unshakable, and ultimately uncontrollable. And remember, your silence is not absence, it's strategy. Your calmness is not weakness, it's your weapon, so breathe. Let's begin the journey into the mind of one who cannot be controlled. To understand what it means to be emotionally dangerous, we must return to the Renaissance, the age of masks, courts, and hidden wars of influence. Niccolo Machiavelli lived in a world where a misplaced emotion could mean exile or execution. Power was fragile, and those who ruled with sentiment soon fell. He observed kings who smiled while plotting assassinations, and priests who cried while condemning souls. He saw that emotion, when uncontrolled, exposes the pulse of fear, and in politics, fear is blood in the water. In The Prince, Machiavelli warned that the ruler must appear compassionate, faithful, humane, and religious, but must be ready to act against all these when necessity commands. It wasn't hypocrisy, it was self-preservation. The wise understood that to control emotion is not to deny it, but to direct it like a weapon. A ruler who cannot hide his rage or pain becomes predictable, and predictability is death. The same principle governs your daily life centuries later. Whether in business, relationships, or negotiations, the one who remains calm when others panic always wins. Yet this art of composure didn't begin with Machiavelli. The ancient Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, all preached the same secret. Freedom begins when nothing external can disturb your inner peace. They believed the mind must be a fortress, not a marketplace. Anger, jealousy, and fear are invaders that enslave you from within. The Buddha taught an identical truth. When you no longer react automatically, you become enlightened. Not divine, but awake. Modern psychology echoes this ancient wisdom. Emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, control, and channel emotions, is now considered one of the greatest predictors of success. Those who manage emotions master relationships. Those who fail are forever manipulated by them. What Machiavelli observed through power struggles, science now confirms through neurology. Your brain is wired to react before it thinks. But those who train awareness, through meditation, reflection, or discipline, rewrite that programming. They evolve from prey to strategist. The tragedy of our time is that society rewards emotional exposure. We are told to speak our truth, to share our feelings, to open our hearts to everyone. But Machiavelli would have smiled at that advice. Not out of cruelty, but because he knew the game. The more you reveal, the more you can be controlled. The modern world has simply refined manipulation into emotional language. Advertisers sell comfort, politicians sell outrage, and influencers sell validation. Everything is designed to keep you reactive, not reflective. The power of being emotionally dangerous lies in reversing that dynamic. It's not about suppressing emotions, but mastering the rhythm of your responses. You feel everything, but you choose when and how to show it. Your calm becomes magnetic, your silence unsettling, your stillness impossible to decode. This is the hidden art Machiavelli admired. The alchemy of emotion transformed into strength. Power does not begin with strength. It begins with self-command. Every ruler, every strategist, every enlightened mind that ever walked the earth discovered the same principle. The moment your emotions become your servants, the world becomes your stage. But the moment your emotions become your masters, you become the entertainment of others. Machiavelli observed this paradox among princes. The ones who feared losing love often lost power. The ones who feared losing power lost their peace. But the ones who feared nothing, neither love nor loss, were untouchable. They understood that control is not something you impose on others first. It's something you impose on yourself quietly, relentlessly, until the storm inside you obeys your command. The first principle, emotional neutrality. Is superiority when someone insults you? You are being tested, not in intelligence, but in dominance. The one who reacts first always loses position. Machiavelli would say, never reveal injury, for it invites exploitation. In the modern world, that means never giving away the emotional code by which you can be manipulated. If anger can be triggered in you, then you are programmable. If guilt can be planted, then you are governable. The most powerful individuals cultivate what ancient Buddhists called equanimity, the sacred neutrality that makes you a mirror, not a sponge. You see, when you become emotionally neutral, you no longer mirror the energy of others. You reflect it back. Your calmness becomes the void in which others confront themselves. They project anger and find no resistance. They become disoriented. They expect fear and find stillness. They lose control. In that silence, their power dissolves, because their power depended on your reaction. The second principle, the controlled display. Machiavelli never advised becoming emotionless. He advised becoming unreadable. The mask of control is a weapon of psychological warfare. He wrote that a prince must appear merciful, faithful, humane, and religious, but must remain internally independent of all those appearances. In your daily life, this translates into the art of emotional acting. You show anger when it benefits you. You show warmth when it disarms suspicion. You reveal pain only to evoke empathy that protects you. This is not hypocrisy. It is strategy. Emotions are instruments, not confessions. A musician does not become his violin. He plays it to create harmony or chaos as needed. You must learn the same mastery. When you decide what others see, you no longer live in reaction. You live in design. The third principle, the law of the invisible reaction. The world trains you to be visible, to post, to speak, to prove, to explain. But emotional danger lives in invisibility. When you stop explaining yourself, you become unpredictable. The less you react, the more people imagine, and their imagination will always be more powerful than your reality. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that the one who controls his inner world controls every outer situation, because every argument, every insult, every betrayal must pass through your interpretation before it becomes pain. Machiavelli would say, "He who conquers himself needs no permission to command others." This means that silence is not passive, it is surgical. The pause between what happens and what you choose to express is your field of power. The longer that space, the less they own you. The fourth principle, emotional transmutation. Emotions are energy, and energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. The weak express energy outwardly through reaction. The strong transmute it inwardly into vision. Machiavelli observed this in leaders who suffered humiliation, yet returned with greater control. They didn't suppress the emotion. They refined it. They let anger become ambition, heartbreak become clarity, disappointment become focus. If you ever wonder why certain people appear unstoppable despite pain, it's because they don't waste energy on resentment. They recycle it. Imagine each emotional wound as raw fuel. You can burn with it or rise from it. Emotional danger is simply this alchemy mastered, to turn reaction into creation. The fifth principle, the calm predator. There is a form of calmness that unsettles everyone. You've seen it in negotiation rooms, in relationships, even in silence after betrayal. It's the stillness of someone who has accepted every possible outcome and therefore fears none. Machiavelli called it preparedness through detachment. The calm predator observes, calculates, and strikes only when the probability of success is near certainty. He wastes no energy on emotional storms. In psychological terms, this is emotional asymmetry. While others operate from instinct, you operate from insight. When they panic, you breathe. When they shout, you whisper. Your rhythm becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability, Machiavelli said, is the ultimate weapon, because confusion weakens strategy. Let me ask you a question. When someone tries to provoke you, do you control the game or do you let them write your next move? Write your answer in the comments. Because that awareness, that small moment of pause, is the beginning of mastery. The sixth principle, strategic compassion. Emotional danger does not mean cruelty. A truly dangerous person can be gentle without being naive. Machiavelli warned that excessive kindness invites betrayal, but calculated kindness commands loyalty. This principle is often misunderstood. Emotional power is not about being cold. It's about giving warmth intentionally, not instinctively. When you know why you give, you cannot be exploited. Strategic compassion allows you to forgive without forgetting, to love without attachment, and to help without dependence. It's the balance between empathy and authority, the perfect center between heart and mind. The seventh principle, the mirror of fear. Every manipulator depends on one thing: your fear of rejection, failure, or abandonment. When you no longer fear those, you become unreachable. Machiavelli wrote that fear must be used, never felt. It was his way of saying, transform fear into foresight. When fear appears, treat it as a messenger, not an enemy. Ask it what it's trying to protect. The moment you stop running from your fears, you start governing them. The modern mind has forgotten this law. We medicate anxiety, drown loneliness, and escape discomfort, when discomfort was meant to teach command. The one who walks calmly through the fire becomes immune to the heat. That's why the emotionally dangerous man is not the loud warrior, but the silent survivor. The eighth principle, emotional delayed response. The weak speak instantly, the strong delay. Machiavelli observed that patience is not inaction, it is controlled timing. The longer you wait before reacting, the clearer your vision becomes. People reveal their true nature quickly. Your slowness forces their speed. They unravel themselves while trying to provoke you. In emotional intelligence, this is called response latency. It's the ability to insert thought between stimulus and action. Every time you do that, you rewrite your brain. You build emotional armor, and soon your silence becomes so heavy that it speaks louder than words. The ninth principle, the detachment of identity. Your emotions are not you, they are movements within you. Machiavelli would say, the fool becomes his feelings, the wise man observes them. This is where most people fail. They say, I am angry, instead of I feel anger. The difference seems small, but it changes your reality. The first makes you a slave, the second makes you the observer. When you separate self from emotion, you gain leverage. You can study your impulses like a strategist studies enemy movement. You become emotionally multilingual, able to interpret others' emotions without drowning in them. Detachment is not emptiness. It's clarity. It allows you to act with precision instead of projection. The 10th principle, the emotional echo. Everything you feel sends a signal. Calmness breeds calmness. Chaos breeds chaos. Machiavelli understood this long before psychology gave it a name. Emotions are contagious. A composed leader creates composed followers. A reactive leader creates panic. In relationships, the same law applies. Your vibration dictates the tone of every exchange. To be emotionally dangerous means your peace destabilizes the chaos of others. You infect them with your rhythm. That's why your silence irritates the insecure, because it forces them to face themselves without distraction. To be emotionally dangerous is to walk a narrow bridge between power and solitude. The higher you climb in emotional control, the fewer people you can truly share yourself with. Machiavelli knew this. He lived surrounded by manipulation, and his wisdom came from wounds that never healed. When you stop reacting like others, they begin to fear you. When you stop needing validation, they start questioning their worth. And when you stop being emotionally accessible, the world accuses you of arrogance when in truth, you are simply free. The 11th principle, the paradox of distance. The first danger of mastery is emotional isolation. Once you see through the games of the world, it becomes hard to play along. When you realize that every flattery hides an agenda, every insult hides a projection, and every alliance hides a calculation, you begin to detach. At first, this feels powerful, but then the silence grows. Emotional distance can turn into existential loneliness. Machiavelli experienced this in exile, stripped of influence, misunderstood by his own people, yet unbroken in clarity. To be emotionally dangerous is to remain human in that silence. To not let understanding become bitterness. Remember this, detachment must never become disconnection. The goal is not to escape emotion, but to see through it without drowning in it. Like a diver who touches the ocean floor and returns to the surface with pearls, not to live underwater forever. The 12th principle, the shadow of pride power has a fragrance, and once you've tasted emotional control, pride will whisper that you are above others. That's the hidden trap. Machiavelli warned rulers against contempt for the people, not out of morality, but out of prudence. Arrogance blinds strategy. In modern life, it blinds empathy. The moment you start believing you are beyond emotion, your ego takes the throne your reason once ruled. Pride turns mastery into delusion. You start confusing suppression with strength, silence with wisdom, indifference with peace. But indifference is not freedom. It's fear disguised as superiority. The emotionally dangerous person does not reject feelings. He refines them. He still feels joy, sadness, tenderness, but he chooses when to let them breathe. The 13th principle, the mirror effect. When you become emotionally still, people project onto you. They fill your silence with their own stories. Some will idealize you, others will demonize you. Both are illusions. The emotionally powerful person must learn to live unseen even when everyone is watching. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must control perception but never be trapped by it. Psychologically, this means never internalize others' interpretations of your calmness. When someone says, "You don't care," understand that what they truly mean is, "I can't control you." When they accuse you of coldness, they're expressing discomfort with your independence. The wise never argue to correct such judgments. They let misunderstanding protect them. The 14th principle, controlled vulnerability. There's a secret weapon more powerful than composure. Vulnerability used intentionally. Machiavelli observed that mercy, when rare, magnifies loyalty. Likewise, emotion, when authentic and strategic, deepens influence. The key is proportion. If you reveal too much, you lose mystery. Reveal too little, you lose connection. Emotional danger requires rhythm, knowing when to. Open the gates just enough for others to see. Light without entering your fortress. This is why the most magnetic individuals in history, from spiritual leaders to revolutionaries, balanced strength with softness. They cried once, not often, and the world remembered that single tear. It's the difference between expression and exposure. You choose your moment, not your impulse. The 15th principle, the economics of emotion. Think of emotion as currency. Every reaction is a payment. Every confession is an investment. Every silence is a savings. Most people go emotionally bankrupt because they spend too freely. They react to everything. They waste energy on gossip, outrage, competition, and anxiety. But emotional millionaires spend intentionally. Machiavelli would call it economy of expression. In relationships, this means don't reveal your full affection to those who haven't earned it. In negotiation, don't reveal your full desire for what you want. In conflict, don't reveal your fear of loss. The one who controls the emotional currency controls the exchange. The 16th principle, the alchemy of indifference. Indifference is often misunderstood. True indifference is not apathy. It is serenity that cannot be stolen. It's the power to let events unfold without losing your center. Machiavelli saw this in the great rulers who watched their empires shift like tides without breaking their gaze. They didn't cling to outcomes because they understood control is an illusion. They focused instead on adaptation, on using emotion as weather, not as identity. In psychology, this aligns with radical acceptance, the ability to acknowledge reality without resistance. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? That's the moment when life stops intimidating you. You stop negotiating with pain. You walk through it as though it was smoke, not fire. The 17th principle, emotional pattern recognition. One of the most dangerous forms of awareness is the ability to see patterns in human emotion. Machiavelli was a master of it. He studied gestures, tones, pauses, the smallest cracks in composure that revealed intention. When you learn to observe others without reacting, their emotions become a language you can read fluently. Imagine being in a conversation where someone tries to provoke you. Instead of reacting, you study them like a physician studies symptoms. You see their insecurity hidden in confidence, their fear disguised as dominance. You stop taking things personally. That's when you stop bleeding energy into manipulation. Emotional pattern recognition is the shield that keeps your empathy from turning into vulnerability. The 18th principle, the law of emotional gravity. Energy flows from chaos to stability, always. That's why people are drawn to those who remain calm. Emotional danger means you become the gravity others orbit around. Your composure pulls their storms into your silence. Machiavelli understood this instinctively. Power attracts submission because stability creates dependence. In your life, this means the more you master yourself, the more others unconsciously seek your guidance, approval, or presence. But this gravity must be handled with responsibility. If you use it for control, you become the tyrant Machiavelli warned against. If you use it for harmony, you become the invisible leader, the one who influences without commanding. Emotional gravity doesn't dominate, it magnetizes. The 19th principle, the emotional paradox of strength. Here lies the deepest paradox. Strength makes you safe, but it can also make you unreachable. Emotional danger can turn into emotional exile if not balanced with humility. You may intimidate others into silence when what they need is your understanding. You may seem invincible while secretly craving softness. Machiavelli, despite his ruthlessness, admired mercy, not as sentiment, but as strategy. A ruler loved and feared is safer than one feared alone. To remain human in your mastery, you must practice emotional descent, the ability to step down from control and enter empathy consciously, to hold power but choose gentleness, to stay in command yet still feel deeply. This is the final frontier of mastery, emotion that serves truth, not defense. The 20th principle, the invisible code of composure. At the heart of it all lies one timeless code. Never let others decide your emotional rhythm. The moment they can speed you up or slow you down, they own you. Machiavelli's world was full of traps designed to trigger impulsive reactions. Today, the traps are digital. Headlines, comments, notifications. Each one seeks your attention, your outrage, your dopamine. The new battlefield is internal. The conqueror is the one who refuses to dance to chaos. Write this in the comments. I am calm when others lose control. It's more than a statement. It's an oath. It declares to your own subconscious that no one, no event, no system can dictate your emotional state. That's the foundation of psychological independence. The emotionally dangerous individual walks through the modern world like a Renaissance strategist through a digital war zone. Eyes calm, breath slow, reactions measured. Others are moved by trends. He is moved by principles. Others are controlled by feelings. He uses feelings as instruments of perception. Machiavelli once said, "He who builds on the people builds on mud." The same applies to your emotions. Build on shifting moods and you'll sink. Build on stillness and you'll stand unshaken. Power without practice is illusion. You can study Machiavelli, meditate on detachment, and memorize every principle. But until you embody emotional control, it remains theory. Emotional mastery is not a belief, it's a behavior. It must be trained like a muscle, rehearsed like a language, and protected like a secret. Every day people will test you, deliberately or unconsciously. They will provoke, guilt, flatter, or confuse you. They will try to pull you into their rhythm because they cannot control someone who sets their own. Each reaction you resist is a small victory. Each silence you hold is a weapon sharpened in the dark. The following practices are not about pretending to be strong. They're about becoming so centered that pretending becomes unnecessary. Let's translate Machiavelli's hidden psychology into your daily ritual of emotional power. Practice 1. The morning calibration. The first 10 minutes, Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must begin each day by surveying his dominion. Your first dominion is your mind. The first 10 minutes after waking determine whether you rule the day or the day rules you. Before touching your phone, before speaking, sit up, breathe slowly, and observe your emotional climate. Don't judge it, simply notice it. If you wake anxious, acknowledge it. If calm, strengthen it. This trains your awareness to become command rather than reaction. In those 10 minutes, repeat silently, "Nothing outside of me decides how I feel." This single declaration recenters your authority. Then visualize your mind as a clear lake. Every thought is a ripple. Watch them arise, move, and fade. This visualization aligns you with the Machiavellian ideal. Perception before participation. You start the day as observer, not pawn. Practice 2. The emotional delay technique. Throughout the day, people and events will tempt you to react instantly. Here is your new discipline. Delay every emotional response by 5 seconds. When someone offends you, inhale. When frustration rises, exhale. Those 5 seconds are the border between slavery and sovereignty. Neuroscience confirms what Machiavelli intuited. The emotional brain reacts before the rational one. By delaying, you give your intellect time to re-enter command. In that short space, ask silently, what outcome serves me best? Not how do I feel, but what result do I choose? This single question rewires your behavior from emotion-driven to strategy-driven. Over time, you'll notice people lose power over you. They'll try to provoke, but your stillness will make them uncomfortable. Because chaos cannot tolerate stability. Practice 3. The controlled mirror. Every human interaction is a mirror. When someone attacks, they reveal their own pain. When they flatter, they reveal their need for validation. Machiavelli trained himself to read these reflections without reacting. You must do the same. During conversation, instead of reacting emotionally, observe patterns. Does this person speak to dominate or to connect? Are their compliments designed to manipulate or to bond? Treat every interaction as data. This doesn't make you cold, it makes you conscious. In psychology, this is called mentalization. The ability to understand the emotions of others without absorbing them. You become like a mirror polished to perfection, reflecting everything, holding nothing. The mirror remains unbroken because it refuses to become the image. Practice 4. Emotional transmutation. Ritual. When strong emotions arise, anger, jealousy, sadness, don't suppress them, transform them. Machiavelli saw emotion as raw political energy. You can see it as spiritual fuel. Step 1. Write down what you feel. Step 2. Identify its message. Anger might signal injustice, jealousy might reveal desire, fear might point toward growth. Step 3. Channel it. Move the energy into creation. A plan, a workout, a project, a goal. Every emotion carries life force. Your task is direction, not denial. This practice converts pain into purpose. With time, emotional storms become signals of power awakening, not weakness returning. You stop fearing your emotions and start using them as instruments of transformation. Practice 5. Strategic silence. Silence is Machiavelli's most underestimated weapon. In a world addicted to explanation, silence unsettles. Use it consciously. When criticized, pause. When accused, breathe. When tempted to justify, smile instead. Silence confuses manipulators because they depend on your reaction to anchor their narrative. Without it, they sink. But silence must be paired with observation. While you remain quiet, study the energy of the room. Watch who becomes nervous, who fills the void with words. In that observation lies intelligence. Practice moments of intentional silence daily. 5 minutes of no speaking, no movement, only awareness. You'll notice how your energy expands. The less you say, the more others reveal. Practice 6. The emotional ledger. Every evening, Machiavelli reviewed his actions, not with guilt, but with precision. Do the same for your emotions. Before sleep, list the 3 situations that affected you most. Ask, where did I stay composed? Where did I lose control? Why? This daily audit sharpens awareness. By tracking emotions like financial transactions, you begin to recognize recurring debts, certain people, topics, or fears that drain you. Once you identify them, design boundaries. Emotional wealth grows through conservation. The fewer leaks in your energy, the greater your power. Practice 7. The circle of controlled influence. Not all battles deserve engagement. Machiavelli advised rulers to choose wars carefully. The same applies to emotions. Create a mental circle representing your control. Inside it are your actions, habits, thoughts. Outside are opinions, gossip, politics, outcomes. When something outside provokes you, visualize it beyond your circle. Irrelevant. Redirect focus inward. This trains emotional economy, energy invested only where results are possible. Over time, you'll stop wasting emotions on the uncontrollable and start using them to build what you can command. Practice 8. Rehearsed composure. Athletes visualize performance. Strategists visualize negotiations. You must visualize composure. Each night, imagine a scenario that normally provokes you. Conflict, rejection, chaos, and rehearse your calm response. See yourself breathing, listening, smiling slightly, choosing words deliberately. The subconscious cannot distinguish vividly imagined behavior from real practice. By repeating this mental training, you pre-install composure into your nervous system. When real tension arises, your body remembers calm as its default state. Machiavelli would call this preparedness disguised as instinct. Practice 9. The power posture of stillness. Body language influences emotion. Stand or sit straight, shoulders open, breath slow. This posture signals safety to your brain and dominance to others. When tension appears, ground your feet and exhale through the nose, the signal of command. Research shows that posture can regulate hormones. Open stance increases confidence. Closed stance amplifies fear. Ancient generals stood still before battle, not out of arrogance, but to stabilize their inner field. Practice stillness until it becomes your natural aura. People will feel your energy before you speak. Practice 10. The ritual of non-reaction. Choose one day a week, your Machiavellian Sabbath, where you vow not to react emotionally to anything external. Treat every event as a test. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Breathe. A message offends you. Smile. News disturbs you. Observe. This ritual trains your nervous system for neutrality. You will feel resistance, the body craving reaction, but hold the line. At the end of the day, you'll realize something profound. The world kept spinning without your reactions. And with each repetition, your detachment deepens into effortless control. The obstacles and how to overcome them Mastery invites opposition. The first obstacle is emotional fatigue. When you begin this discipline, you'll feel tired. It's normal. You're rewiring years of reactive conditioning. Rest when needed, but never regress to emotional impulsiveness as a comfort zone. Power feels lonely at first, then liberating. The second obstacle is social misunderstanding. As you grow calm, others will misinterpret you. Some will call you distant, others arrogant. Let them. Their discomfort is confirmation that your energy has shifted. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must be content with misunderstanding because truth is rarely recognized when it no longer pleases emotion. The third obstacle is inner guilt. We are conditioned to equate self-control with coldness, but emotional strength is an act of love for clarity, peace, and authenticity. You serve others best when you are unshaken by them. The integration phase. Turning knowledge into presence. After practicing for several weeks, emotional danger becomes not a performance, but a frequency. People will notice something different. Your voice steadier, your gaze deeper, your aura harder to read. You'll begin to attract new kinds of individuals, those who respect boundaries and fear manipulation. When tension arises, your mind will slow down. You'll analyze situations instead of absorbing them. Conversations that once drained you will now amuse you. Arguments will dissolve because you no longer feed them. You'll stop needing to prove, to chase, to explain. You'll begin to radiate control. At this stage, combine the practices into a daily system: morning calibration, 10 minutes, emotional delay and observation throughout the day, evening ledger before sleep, weekly ritual of non-reaction. This becomes your silent discipline, the Machiavellian monk's routine of modern times. The transformation outcome: as weeks turn into months, you will notice an inner shift. Anxiety loses its grip. External chaos feels distant. You sense emotions without becoming them. You stop fearing confrontation. You walk into rooms without needing to dominate or please. Your presence alone defines balance. This is the essence of emotional danger. Your peace becomes contagious, your detachment magnetic, your unpredictability commanding. You no longer fight for respect. It gravitates toward you. Remember Machiavelli's wisdom. Appearances control perception, but inner stability controls reality. When both align, no one can control you. You began this journey by hearing a simple truth. Nobody can control you if you're emotionally dangerous. Now, after exploring Machiavelli's hidden psychology, the ancient laws of composure, and the practices that make self-mastery a living discipline, you understand what that really means. Emotional danger is not about intimidation. It is about sovereignty. It is the state where no word, no rejection, no illusion of control can reach the core of your peace. When Machiavelli studied rulers, he didn't admire cruelty. He admired precision. He observed that power decays when emotion rules. That's why he taught leaders to be both lion and fox, strength with subtlety, emotion with strategy. And in you, these two must merge. You must be strong enough to feel deeply, yet wise enough to never let feeling dictate direction. That is the paradox of emotional power. To live with an open heart and an unshakable mind. The emotionally dangerous person is not hard. He is clear. His strength is invisible, not loud, not reactive, not forced. It exists quietly, like a deep current beneath calm waters. People feel it before they understand it. They sense it when they look into your eyes. That stillness that doesn't move, that silence that doesn't flinch. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. But let's be honest, this path is not easy. To reach this level, you will lose illusions. You will outgrow the need to be understood. You will begin to see manipulation in faces you once trusted. You will realize that most people do not want freedom, they want comfort. And that emotional control is not celebrated by the weak. It's feared, because your calmness removes their power. Your lack of reaction steals their control. Your peace exposes their chaos. Yet this is not the time to retreat into isolation. The true Machiavellian philosopher does not flee from humanity. He moves through it with wisdom. You are not here to escape emotion. You are here to lead it. The emotionally dangerous person leads without raising his voice. He influences without trying. He persuades without begging. He becomes the axis around which instability reorganizes itself. Remember, the calmest person in the room always has the most control. When others shout, he listens. When others panic, he breathes. When others demand, he delays. In that silence, the world reveals its patterns. You stop being reactive matter and become conscious energy. Machiavelli would tell you, control yourself, and you control everything. But modern psychology would complete his sentence. Love yourself, and you need to control nothing. That's the synthesis of wisdom, when emotional power no longer comes from suppression, but from serenity. You are emotionally dangerous not because you suppress your feelings, but because you understand them. You have negotiated with your own darkness, and it obeys you. So, how do you live this truth each day? By remembering that emotional control is not a performance, it's a frequency. Every breath is a declaration that you belong to yourself. Every silence is a reminder that your mind is your territory. Every moment you refuse to react, you reclaim that territory from the chaos of the world. There will be moments when people try to test your composure. They'll push, provoke, or guilt you. Let them. Their need for reaction is proof of your growth. Never forget, the most powerful response is often none at all. Silence cuts deeper than words because it denies validation. And Machiavelli understood, whoever needs to explain himself is already losing authority. But emotional danger is not cold distance. It's warm discipline. You can love someone without surrendering your mind. You can forgive someone without allowing re-entry into your peace. You can be kind without being naive. This balance between compassion and control is what Machiavelli admired in the rare few who ruled both hearts and minds. Look around the modern world. Outrage sells, noise dominates, and emotional chaos is monetized. The calm person, the one who doesn't feed the machine, becomes a threat. Your stillness will confuse those who live off attention. Your neutrality will infuriate manipulators. That's how you'll know you've become emotionally dangerous. When your presence alone disrupts patterns that depend on your reaction. In this quiet mastery, something beautiful happens. You stop seeking revenge because you realize indifference is stronger. You stop proving your worth because you know your silence already says everything. You stop chasing validation because you understand that no opinion can raise or lower what is already sovereign. You become, in the purest sense, free. And that freedom has a scent, a vibration people feel. They won't understand it, but they'll remember it. They'll remember how calm you were when they expected fury, how focused you were when they tried to confuse you, how kind you remained when they became cruel. That's emotional danger. It's not the power to destroy others. It's the power to remain untouched by destruction. Now, take a deep breath. Let the air remind you that control begins in the body, not the mind. You can't think your way into mastery. You must embody it. Stand tall, breathe slow, and speak less than you know. Every movement becomes a message. Every glance becomes a command. Before we close, I want you to comment this final declaration below. My calm is my crown, because that's exactly what it is. Every moment you hold your peace, you polish that invisible crown. Every moment you refuse chaos, you rise higher in the unseen hierarchy of strength. And to those who wonder what makes you different, what makes you untouchable, what makes you impossible to manipulate, they will never see the inner discipline behind your eyes. They will never know the quiet nights you spent taming your mind. They will never understand how much it costs to look that calm. But you will know. You will walk through this world like a silent storm, graceful, grounded, and ungovernable. The same wisdom that guided Machiavelli through the labyrinth of human ambition now lives in you. You no longer react to life. You design it. You no longer chase peace. You radiate it. And from this day forward, remember, nobody can control you because you have already mastered yourself.